Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Outside Looking In. Obviously, me, the Boot, Aaron here with my co-host Dre. Um, and we're a little late on this one, but we're gonna do a prediction show. This time around, we're 2 weeks into the season, but not too much has been given away. Where it's just like gonna give the entire thing away. Like we're not week 8 or something like that. So 2 weeks in a row. I mean, 2 weeks that we missed, but we'll just jump right into it. I'll let Dre start. We're gonna start with offensive rookie of the year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, like you said, it's been 2 weeks, and right now it's a runaway award, for Ibuka with the Bucks. I'm not gonna lie, I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and I know a lot of people been thinking that LSU is wide receiver U. Well, Ohio State
Mm,
coming for that title, and
mm.
it, I'm just gonna throw that out there. But that's my prediction right now. The only way they throw that off and he doesn't win that award is if they screw it up, and when Godwin comes back, they just completely decrease his volume at this point. But I think they should just keep it rolling. He's been winning them games. Just keep
And
riding
I
that
mean,
train.
obviously that's a good pick right now. If it was the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have picked him. So I'm gonna stick with my guy that I was gonna pick week 0, and that's Tyler Warren, tight end for the Colts. Uh I wish the Saints had a tight end this dynamic. I don't know why the Bears passed over him for Loveland. That's already proven to be just a terrible decision. He's
Facts.
had back-to-back solid games with the Colts. Obviously, the Colts are looking good. But yeah, Tyler Warren for my pick preseason had a good 2 games. Obviously not like Omega, but still a really good 2 games, and we'll just see, if who's able to hold it up longer. But that's my pick for rookie of the year. Now we're gonna move to defensive rookie of the year. Now this one's tough because I think preseason I think I was gonna go Travis Hunter. Uh, so I'm gonna stick with it for now. I'm gonna stick with Travis Hunter. Obviously that's probably not gonna happen because he's playing like 80% offense at the moment. But if you go out there and get about 4 or 5 picks somehow, he'll get it. That was my preseason pick, but after watching 2 games, I guess I'll give my second pick. Will Johnson, cornerback from the Cardinals. Should have honestly been a first round pick, but injury concerns and things like that was really locked down at Michigan at one point. He was a top 10 pick, worthy. But like I said, injuries, hamstring injuries, production issues. But obviously, a lot of teams messed that up because he's played well the first 2 games. They just played the Saints, so I got a really good look at him, and he was all that's advertised. So I'm gonna go with Will Johnson for rookie of the year.
That's good. I'm not gonna lie. At the beginning of the season, I was gonna pick Will Johnson too, and my reasoning was because I thought that the Cardinals were, I think that I felt like their offense would have been better and their defense would have had to, kind of like
Hmm.
pick up the pace. So I felt like they were going to be in a lot of shootouts like early in the season. The scores have been kind of close, but they haven't really been shootouts. So, but I'm gonna actually switch it up and I'm gonna go with the hometown kid, Jahai Campbell, and it's only because N'Kobe Dean hurt, so we needed him to start. And I felt like him being next to Bond was gonna be very good. It's like, hey, Bond can be the veteran. He knows everything. Let him do all the complex stuff. You give Campbell, some simple things. Just like, hey, focus on this. We either want you to, rush the passer, uh, maintain the flats, just different things like that. But he's been doing everything and playing well. We gotta get better at these rushes so he doesn't keep getting run from the passer calls. But outside of that, he's been doing great. Actually, I think he led our team in tackles against the Chiefs. So that I think he's got it. But that's gonna be my pick for right now.
Another guy I wanted the Saints to draft had been one of our mocks, but that's neither here nor there. Now we can switch over to offensive player of the year. I'll let you start with this one because I have the correct answer.
All right, so for offensive player of the year, not gonna lie, I might have to change mine. Because at the beginning of the year, I was gonna say Joe Burrow because
Mm,
I felt like the Bengals were not gonna have a good enough record for him to win MVP.
hmm.
But because of the fact that their defense wasn't gonna be good, he was gonna have ridiculous stats to the point where it's like it can't be anybody else but him. But as we all now know, they're not officially saying he's out for the year,
But
but we ain't seeing him till Christmas if we see him at all for the rest of the year. So to be honest, I was gonna go with, and I'll stick with it. I'm not gonna change it up. I'm still gonna stick with Derrick Henry. And the reason
Hmm.
being is because I felt like Derrick Henry knows that time is coming. He's not, peak Derrick Henry isn't going to be there any longer. I'm not saying that he's retiring in a year or two or anything like that, but just like peak Derrick Henry isn't there. He had a great year last year, but he was, behind Saquon and all the rushing and everything. So with the way that their season went last year, where it was like we have a great running game, but our passing game is what let us down. But look at the Eagles, who have great receivers, but they just ran the ball all the way to the Super Bowl. I feel like the Ravens would have followed that, follow that schedule where it's like, well, we've got a great running quarterback, a great running back. Let's just run our way to the Super Bowl and, see what happens. So, the first game was great. Second game was terrible. So we'll see, we'll balance it out and see what happens for the rest of the season. But I'm gonna go with Derrick Henry for right now.
And unfortunately for this award, this was going to be my preseason pick, and it's going to stay there. And it's not one guy, unfortunately. It's four of them. And I'll name all four because either one of the four win, it's happy with me. And it's funny because you kind of brought it up already. It's going to be Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, or Brian Thomas Jr. Wide receiver U, one of those guys will win Offensive Player of the Year. Malik Neighbors leads the lead in receiving yards right now. We know what Jamar Chase is going to do. Obviously, without Burrow, that's going to be interesting. Jefferson looks like he out of it because J.J. McCarthy looks awful. So I don't think I don't think he's going to have a chance. And Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know what happened last game, but it may be the worst game I've seen from a receiver in a long time. But no worries there. Like I said, Malik Neighbors still leading the league in yards right now behind in front of JSN, I may add, who's the wide receiver U junior over there. But honestly, if I had to pick one of those guys, my preseason pick was Jamar Chase. I think my
Hmm.
second guy was Brian Thomas. Just because I thought he was gonna have a breakout year. Not looking like it right now. I thought Travis Hunter maybe get him some help over there, draw some attention. That's not looking like the case. But my real answer is Jamar Chase. But if any one of the wide receiver you guys win it, it's good in my book. So I'm gonna stick
Just
with Jamar
to
Chase right there.
just to cut into that, I don't know what the Jaguars are doing right now. There's absolutely no reason they should have lost that game to the
At
Bengals.
all.
I don't know what their offensive philosophy is. I don't know what's going on. Trevor Lawrence is just throwing balls, and what's going to end up happening is he's going to start throwing those hospital balls, and Brian Thomas Jr. is going to end up like Olave, where it's like you
Hmm.
got this great wide receiver that can make great catches, but he keeps getting hurt because the quarterback keeps putting him in harm's way. And all they're doing with Travis Hunter is throwing bubble screens to him. And when he finally does get open on a deep route, Lawrence can't get him the ball when he gets behind the coverage.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what their offense is doing. I don't know what the team is doing. Luckily, they're in a terrible, well, I say terrible, but they're not in a promising division in a
Hmm.
sense. The Colts are 2-0, but we'll see how that actually goes for the season. But they got some work to do.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't agree more. Defensive player of the year. This is interesting. I'm gonna cheat. I'm not gonna go Miles Garrett because that's just the obvious answer. I mean, it's just Miles Garrett, dude. He's probably the best defensive player in football. Um, The guy I wanted to pick, I'm not gonna pick him just because he was an idiot week one. So I'm gonna leave him alone. He resides in Philadelphia. He was in my running in my head of who I was gonna pick, but I'm gonna be a homer again. Uh, and it's two guys, but the guy I was gonna pick, if we did the show week one, was Derek Stingley, but I was gonna hit a backtrack because once Michael Parsons got traded, I was picking Michael Parsons 100% just because they made the trade. You know how the NFL goes. The Packers are probably gonna have the best record in the NFC or the second best behind the Eagles, something like that. So he'll be up there. Is another reason
Hmm.
why I wanted to pick Jalen Carter for that. Just I thought he was going to be able to lead that defense in that middle. But I think Michael Parsons maybe have like 2 sacks right now, maybe 1.5 or something like that. If he can average a
Yeah, he's
sack a
got two.
game and he ends with 17 and they got the best record in the NFC, he'll probably win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think the Browns are going to win too many games this year. That'll probably knock Miles Garrett down a little bit. So I'm gonna end up going with Michael Parsons. And just because CJ Stroud looks terrible, so the Texans might just be out of everything at this point. So I'm gonna go with Michael Parsons just because I mean that's a huge trade. All odds are gonna be on him. All odds are on the Packers right now.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, I was gonna pick Micah just because I was like everything that was going on with the offseason, it was just adding fuel to the fire.
Hmm.
And it was like one of those weird things where normally it's like it's player led, like the player is causing all this commotion, player is causing all this. But this was all Jerry. Jerry was putting all this stuff into the media and everything. And then as soon as they trade Micah, it's like, well, he can't defend the run. He can't do this. It was a lot of he can't. When for the past 4 seasons, we've been seeing Micah dominate, no matter what. But like you kind of said, that's the easy one. So what I was actually going to do, I was actually at the beginning of the season, my vote was going to be that Pat Surtain was going to
Mm.
win back to back. And it's
Mm.
mainly because I think that teams are just going to be too afraid to throw his way. And it's not necessarily because of the fact that he's going to get a lot of picks, not saying that he can't catch or anything, but it's like outside of he can get interceptions, he can shut down your wide receiver, he can break up passes, he can put his head in there and force fumbles, he can punch out the ball and everything. Like he is a complete corner. And there's not too many complete corners out there. Now I know my guy Q, he gonna be there one day, but I just don't think he's there just yet. So I wasn't gonna give the nod to him. So I was gonna go out on a limb, and I was gonna say that Patrick Tan was just gonna repeat as
Hmm.
Defensive Player of the Year.
And I just got to give a little love before the offensive player of the year. We didn't mention Gibbs. I think the Lions are still, trying to kid themselves that it's like a dual backfield with him and Montgomery. The day they just let Gibbs take over, that
Yep,
award, that award
I
is that
agree.
award is out of there. I'll let that be known right now. Um, and I guess we can do the protector of the year since that's the thing this year. I'll let you start. I'm gonna be honest. I don't give two shits about the protector of the year, but I'll let you start it.
So I'm gonna be honest with this. I Because this is the inaugural year for this award, I don't unless they have a terrible year, I don't think that this award is going to go to maybe the most deserving player. I
Uh-huh.
think what's going to happen is this award, at least for the first time, is going to go to a veteran who,
Who's been
they've
the
been
best?
dominant their entire career, and so they can finally have that recognition. So I don't really have a specific person, but I have three that I just feel like it could go to. It'll either go to Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, or Dawkins from the Bills. Like
Hmm.
one of those three is gonna get it, and it's mainly because Trent Williams is who everybody talks about when it comes to an offensive lineman, and he not nasty in a bad way, but like he's a nasty, grimy,
Hmm.
offensive lineman that's gonna protect his teammates, do his job basically. Lane Johnson has been the pro, like he is the tackle that everybody looks at, even though he plays right tackle. Whether you're playing
Hmm.
left or right, everybody wants to emulate Lane Johnson, have the career that he has. And then Dawkins was actually one of the ones that was, really hard and one of the major ones pushing for the award to happen. So I feel like they would award him just for the fact that he was the one pushing it. So out of those three, unless one of those three has a terrible year, then I think one of those three are going to get it.
I'm 100%. I would bet a lot of money that Lane Johnson's gonna win the award. And as I'm reading on, so it's a panel of six people. So only six people are voting on this, and it's LaCharles Bentley, Jason Kelsey, Sean O'Hara, Orlando Pace, Will Shields, and Andrew Whitworth. That sounds like guys that are gonna give it to someone that's been doing it for a long time. Like
Yep.
obviously with Kelsey, you got one vote for Lane Johnson already. I think in Kelsey, actually, and Whitworth. I think he's a old. He just probably retired 2 years ago. Orlando Pace also plays tackle. I think that's just a automatic Trent Williams or Lane Johnson. I think Lane Johnson's gonna have the better year. They're gonna have the better team, so it's probably gonna go to him. So I think if a young guy was to get it though, which I don't think it's happening, it's gonna be Joe Alt or Penny from the Lions. But I think
Yep.
I think Lane Johnson has that wrapped up. To be honest, I don't think it's gonna be close. Now we can switch over to Coach of the Year. Which I'll go my preseason pick right here. I had Sean Payton being coach of the year. I thought the Broncos were going to win that division, and if they did that, I thought that was going to be enough. They lost to the Colts, so to win that game should be 2-0 right now. But I think Sean Payton. I still think they're going to win the division. Obviously, the Chiefs are 0-2 right now. I still think they're going to win that division. They got to win about maybe 11, 12 games. Then I think Sean Payton had a chance to win coach of the year. I thought Liam Cohen with the Jaguars coach would have a chance too, but I don't like what I've seen from the Jaguars these first 2 weeks. But Sean Payton was my preseason pick, and I'm gonna rock with Sean Payton.
So my preseason pick, and it's actually working out great for me, was Harbaugh from the Chargers, and the reason was because when all the stuff from like his sanctions, from college and everything came out, a lot of people were like, oh, well, the NFL should, also punish him just because he's in the league now instead of in college. And I'm like, he's in the NFL now. They've got nothing to do with college. So I feel like that was going to add fuel to his fire. The fact that they had a great season last year, but a lot of people said that they didn't utilize Herbert the way that they should have, and then the way that they went out in the playoffs. And then so that was going to be another set of motivation. And then third, he's kind of following the same track. So when he started with the 49ers, the last time he was in the NFL, he turned them around the first season, and then the second season, I actually do believe it was the second season that they went to the Super Bowl. And even though I don't think he's going to make a quarterback change, like he had to do there, but he's got the quarterback, he's got the defense. The If they like they did in Week 1, if they could overcome the Chiefs, then that would be a boost for him. So he had everything lined up to have those boosts, and right now I'm definitely sticking with it because they're 2-0. They beat the Chiefs. Everybody's already picking Herbert to be MVP and all this kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
hey, Harbaugh, Coach of the Year,
All right, we can do comeback player of the year. I'll let you start with this one as well for comeback player.
easy. Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be Aiden Hutchinson, but I know because it's week two. It's week two, and I think a couple guys threw their name in the hat. I don't think Russell Wilson's really coming back from anything, but like, I mean, he leads the NFL in passing yards right now. And then you got Daniel Jones, 2-0. He's kind of coming back from being benched, kind of looking good. I wouldn't have picked those guys at the beginning of the year, so I'd have picked Aiden Hutchinson, who I still think will win it. But I think those two quarterbacks kind of threw their name in the hat of like, hold on now, especially Daniel Jones more than Russell Wilson
Yeah,
because Russell Wilson played, but Daniel Jones got cut, had him at scout team safety. 2-0 right now. I think he's going to come back to reality very
been a
soon.
joke of the league ever since he been in the league.
So Daniel Jones is in the running now, I think. But like you said, Hutchinson, I think he's gonna win that one. I think JJ McCarthy had a chance if he played well, but like I said, first two games didn't look the greatest because he was hurt last year. But yeah, Aiden Hutchinson got that one for me. And last but not least, we're gonna go with the MVP, and I have a surprise MVP pick, so I'm gonna let you start because I'm sure you got like one of the guys.
Well, the NFL's been kind of weird recently. The NBA, they actually, it's unspoken, but they'll give you the award once or twice, and then you don't get that award again until
Mm-hmm.
you win the finals, or you just do something just outrageous and crazy that they have no choice but to give it to you. The NFL's not like that. They give it to the same people all the time, over and over and over again. And right now, at the beginning of the season, because he's the best regular season quarterback the past 4 years, I was like, Lamar Jackson gonna win it again. Like, I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what anybody else like, for somebody to beat Lamar Jackson out, they gotta be a quarterback, because even Saquon had a record-breaking year last year, and I think he ended third in MVP, maybe fourth. So if you're gonna beat Lamar for MVP, you gotta at least throw 40 touchdowns, or have at least 40 touchdowns, between passing and running, and then have a great record, the yardage, all that kind of stuff. If you don't, Lamar's winning it.
Yeah, I mean, you got obviously got Lamar. Joe Burrow name would have been in the hat. Josh Allen's name in the hat. Pat Mahomes' name's always in the hat. Then you're gonna have the team that are really good. They have quarterbacks like Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, names in the hat. But this year, and it's funny because we mentioned this guy already, and I didn't mention him for a specific reason, and for all the reasons you named earlier, my MVP preseason, and I won't change it, was Pat Surtain, and I thought the NFL was finally gonna say, you know what? Just say let's be done with the quarterbacks. Actually, let's be done with offense as it is in general, and let's give it to somebody on defense. I think after all the hoopla with Lamar and Josh Allen last year, and this and that, they were like, you know what? Let's just take a year off from the quarterbacks and let's give it to somebody else. So I definitely was going to pick a defensive player this year, and that's why I said Derek Stingley for defensive player of the year because I was leaving Pat Surtain for the bigger award, which was going to be MVP. And it all kind of goes hand in hand. As you see, Sean Payton was coach of the year. So if they won a division, they had a good record. They're gonna have to win like 13 games for him to even have a chance, like any type of chance. They're gonna have to be like damn near the number one seed for him to have a
Right.
chance. But I mean, that was gonna be my outside pick. But if I couldn't pick a defensive guy, I'm picking Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's at this point like
Now, I will say this. Mahomes was kind of that category where it's like, all right, you've won a lot, even though I think he's only won two MVPs. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like you've won MVPs, you won Super Bowls, you won Super Bowl MVPs. We're tired of hearing your name. We're gonna give it to somebody else. But I think just because of the way their season has started,
Mm-hmm.
if they end up going, let's say they turn the season around and they get to a minimum of 12 wins, that's how Mahomes can win MVP. You
Mm-hmm. Yep.
start terrible, you're 0-2 for the first time in your career. You actually got to pull yourself out, from the trenches and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think dark horse race, I think it's going to be between him and Herbert going all.
Mm-hmm.
I think they meet again week 15, I think. So I think that matchup was probably going to decide MVP if, the Chiefs, which I think they will if they
Mm-hmm.
turn their season around.
And if I had to throw some sleepers out there just because Baker Mayfield, low key a little sleeper right now.
Yep.
Lucky for him, he's in a worse division in football out here. So I mean, he's gonna have probably free 6 wins, or free 4 wins. We gonna beat him twice. Saints gonna beat him twice. But other than that, he's probably gonna have some free wins. So if I had to be a sleeper pick, I wouldn't be shocked if his name's in the hat. Jaden Daniels, I wouldn't be shocked if his name in the hat. Like I said, we know all the quarterbacks' names gonna be in the hat.
Got to
To
stay
be
healthy.
honest, so that's just is what it is. Just gotta stay healthy.
And
But
Jordan Love going to be in there just because Michael Parsons is now there and the defense is
exactly.
tearing things up.
So yeah, that would be my sleeper pick if I had to, get a super sleeper. Would be probably Baker Mayfield, but yeah, that'll wrap it up, man. That's all I have. And I feel like we should have just mentioned Bijan Robinson just because I just feel like he's good enough to be mentioned. I don't know for
I
what.
just
I don't think
the
he'll win an
only reason
award,
why I
but he's
don't
solid.
mention Bijan is because I feel like, and it's nothing between like Bijan and Pitts, but it's like the coaches themselves just forget the type of players that they have, and they don't
Hmm.
always utilize them correctly. Like I think week one, I think Bijan tore it up in the receiving game, but only had like 24 rushing yards, and
Hmm.
I think it was maybe reversed in week two and whatnot. So it's like Bijan could be right up there with, and should be right up there with Saquon and Derrick Henry, like
I agree.
with everything.
Hmm.
But the coaches got to get better.
And just looking at the NFL right now, I'm just gonna go through some of these passing leader right now. Russell Wilson, which is crazy. Rushing
Craziest game of the
leaders
year.
is Jonathan Taylor and Travis Etienne, which is kind of crazy too. The receiving core is kind of what you expected. Malik Neighbors up at the top, CeeDee Lamb, Puka, JSN in second. Interceptions, Cam Bynum. I hope he win Defensive Player of the Year actually, just because his celebrations, he's 2 for 2 right
I was
now.
about to say that celebration was
Just because
crazy.
he's 2 for 2 for celebrations, I hope he get an interception every game, and he just keep doing celebrations. But obviously, I don't think nobody would have picked him at the beginning of the year, so you can't just use those two picks to do that. But anything else? I mean, I think we've covered it all on a prediction tip for this
Well,
last night.
I'll say this: who was your Super Bowl prediction?
Oh, I forgot about that Super Bowl prediction. My fake prediction was going to be Saints versus the Chiefs because I mean I'm just going to be actually it was going to be the Saints versus the Chiefs. I'll go with that. I had Spencer Rattler knocking off Mahomes, showing who was the new Mahomes. My real prediction was going to be um, who was it going to be? Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? Oh well, probably the Packers. Packers versus either the Ravens or the Broncos, and that was my AFC Championship for sure. Was Broncos versus Ravens. Thought they were gonna finally meet. Either Sean Payton get back to a Super Bowl or Lamar Jackson get back or finally gets to a Super Bowl. And I thought they were gonna play the Packers once they got Michael Parsons. Their receiving core still scares me for the Packers though, so I don't know about that. But I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go with the Packers Ravens, and I got Lamar winning this first one. That's what I'll go with.
So I had two that I couldn't necessarily decide between. The NFC team was the Eagles for both of them.
Of
Like I
course.
just felt like, and this was even I had this decision before the Packers traded for before Micah, and I thought about it once they did trade for Micah, but kind of same thing. Jordan Love is up and down, so you don't know which Jordan Love you're gonna get. We're used to playing with Micah. We know how to scheme against him, so it's not like Micah being on their team, scares us in a sense. And then we also have a size advantage on the Packers. So I feel like as long as we play a clean game, we should be good. So my two predictions were either us versus the Ravens in a bird bowl, basically,
Mm-hmm.
or us versus the
Oh.
Bills. Because I just felt like one of those two teams were going to get over the hump against the Chiefs because one of them were probably going to have to play the Chiefs. And then they would meet in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
And they play, one team blows each other out all the time. And if they're not blowing the other one out, then it's like a very close, 3, 4 point game. Like the week one game was crazy this year. So I just felt like whichever one of those teams won the AFC Championship game would face the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I had us winning the Super Bowl
Oh,
and going back
shocker,
to back.
shocker.
It's just
Well, I'll just end it with this. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I'm so glad next year they're banning the tush push. So we out on
it's
that one.
here to stay.
We are out
Stop
on that one.
complaining. Just
I'm
learn how
tired
to
of.
stop it.
We're gonna start putting them Super Bowls in the air of Tom Brady. They're cheating. They're cheating. So it's just asterisks on all the Super Bowls like Tom Brady and the Patriots. They're just out here cheating, breaking the rules. The refs don't want to call it. I think they got to deal with Roger Goodell, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But like I said, thank y'all for tuning in again. Here's another episode of Outside Looking In, and we out. Boom.